Hey guys, a very popular question is how can I get cheap protein? Protein is so expensive. What are cheap and high quality protein sources? Boy, do I have something for you. Let's have a look. So everyone knows protein is by far the most expensive macronutrient. But it's also pretty much the most important one, especially for muscle growth, but also for muscle retention and fat loss in general because of its thermic effect. But since it's so expensive, people struggle to get their protein in and are looking for ways to get it cheaper. Now, since this video makes more sense if you see more of the table that I made for you rather than my face, let's switch it up. Alright, better. So as you can see now, we have a little table here and we have the price of the individual food per kilogram, the protein per kilogram, the price per 100 grams of plain protein, as well as the calories per 100 gram and therefore the grams of protein you get from 100 calories, which is very important if you're in a cut. The whole table is sorted ascending from the lowest price to the highest price per 100 grams of protein. The foods with a green background are vegan and the ones with an orange background are vegetarian. The ones with a white background are meat, fish and eggs. But before we start to have a closer look, you will notice that the table uses British pounds because that's where I live and that's where I did my research. So you will probably have different prices in your country. I know, for instance, that red lentils, which are very cheap here in the UK, are quite expensive back in Germany. So prices will vary from country to country, but in general, the food categories should be at least roughly in the same range. So most legumes will always be cheaper than meat, for instance, in pretty much every country around the world. But keep that in mind. I also used the current prices that I could find on the internet. I didn't include any deals except for the protein powder, for the whey, because you pretty much never pay the whole price. If you order from a source like bulk powders or my protein, you always use a discount code. And therefore I use the price that I paid on average in the last year when I ordered my whey protein powder. Having said that, let's dig right in. As you can see, when you look at the top, there are a lot of legumes and grains, mainly lentils, oats and rice. Now, you can get 100 grams of protein for as little as 58 pence when you get them from lentils. But lentils also have quite a lot of calories per 100 grams. So you only get 6 to 7 grams of protein out of 100 calories. Now, if you are bulking, that's not really a problem, but if you're cutting, lentils can be too calorie dense. Moving down the list, you can see right after the rice, we have a small gap in terms of price per 100 grams of protein, and then we have whey protein powder. And this is really important because a lot of people think whey is very expensive because they buy it from GNC or some other local retailer. And obviously protein powder there is way more expensive because they have to pay rent, they have to pay employees and stuff like that. If you buy it directly from manufacturers like my protein, like bulk powders, it's way cheaper, and that's what I do. And that's where you can get very high quality protein powder for a very cheap price. As you can see, it's by far the cheapest high protein source, at least out of the ones that have low calories. When you look at the last column, you can see it's almost 20 grams of protein per 100 calories. Obviously, because whey protein powder is pretty much almost just exclusively protein, right? Now, another thing that is very important to mention here is that while you can get your protein from sources like rice, it's not a good idea to get it exclusively from rice. because rice has a pretty bad amino acid profile. It lacks bigger amounts of leucine, which is the most important amino acid, especially for muscle growth, because it has the biggest role in triggering muscle protein synthesis. So you shouldn't rely on rice or oats or even lentils to get all your protein in, because they all have fairly low leucine levels. Not so with whey protein. Whey protein has a very high leucine content and therefore is a very high quality protein source. You can use lentils as a base, of course, but you should be aware that you need to supplement leucine in a different way. Either by getting it from different food sources that have a high leucine content, or by supplementing it through BCAAs. Moving down the list, we have eggs, and I mean whole eggs, because you have protein in both the egg white and the yolk, as well as chicken. I used frozen chicken here because it's really cheap in the UK to get frozen chicken. If you don't want frozen chicken, or you want some high quality chicken, because obviously for £3.80 you don't get high quality chicken, but if you want to get some chicken and you want to get it high quality, you have to pay more, of course. But if you buy the cheap one, you can get very high amounts of protein for very little money. And if you look at the grams of protein per 100 calories, you can see that with this type of chicken you get roughly 21 grams of protein per 100 calories, which is obviously very convenient in a cut. You can easily get your protein in with very little calories. Now, I don't want to go through the whole list with you because you can read yourself, but just to give you a general recommendation, make sure to get your protein from a few different sources. Don't rely on one particular source, even if it's something like chicken, which has, for instance, high leucine content and a good structured amino acid profile in general. You should still get your protein from different sources, so your body has enough different amino acids in its amino acid pool. Having said that, if you struggle with money, you can get a long way with, say, lentils, rice and beans. And if you want to spend some more money, get some high quality meat if you're a meat eater. If you are vegetarian, focus on, for instance, low fat cheese or high fat cheese, or if you're on a keto diet. And if you are vegan, again, lentils, and if you can get a cheap tofu, are your best bets. I hope this helps people with getting more protein in their diet without spending too much money. And let me know in the comments down below what your favorite protein source is and how much it costs per kilogram, or per pound if you like to, in your country. I'm really interested in the different types of foods you consume to get your protein in, although I would assume most people will probably use meat of some sort at least, but I would also be interested in the prices. So let me know in the comments down below, and if this video helped you in any way, make sure to leave me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.